In this video, I would like to introduce you to two Chinese films that belongs to the same series that I think they're really worth checking out. Hi, you're watching Avenue X, where a junkie on good storytelling shares her thoughts, knowledge, and occasional weird ideas on stories and how they're told. This is one of those rare occasions that I talk about movies and films instead of dramas. Maybe the next video would also be about a film, but that is just because it happens to be the right time to talk about them for me. I mean, if you look at the thumbnail, you know already what I'm gonna talk about. And if you watch my previous video, you probably know why. Because recently, I've been really into Love and Destiny, and led by Zhang Zhen and Nini. I always wanted to talk about these two films on my channel probably for longer than a year, but I never found the right time to do it. There's always something else to talk about, some other dramas. So I put it off so long, and now I think it's the perfect time, because since I'm still rewatching and having a lot of fun of running the drama as an IKEA drama, might as well just talk about the two films that are both led by Zhang Zhen. That's called 绣春刀. The English title is Brotherhood of Blades. To talk about these two films, let me first quickly introduce you to the sort of historical background. 绣春刀 is set in late Ming Dynasty, around the beginning time of the last emperor of Ming Dynasty, and it was around the time of the late 20s of the 17th century, so around 1627 to 1628. Very specific. If you're interested in Chinese history or even the world history in general from 17th century onwards, Ming Dynasty is really something you should look into, because let's just say so much political mess happened during that period. The sort of last few years of Ming Dynasty, and then moving into the next and the last imperial dynasty, Qing Dynasty. Life was shit for everybody who lived there at that time in China. A lot of very weird and kind of fantastical but surreal and just like it's like made up, but it actually happened, sort of things happened in the political realm of the country. And this story of our lead characters is set in that big historical background, and it's highly integrated into real history or the sort of imperial history of the time. The first 绣春刀 actually chronologically happens after the second one. So basically, if you want to watch the story chronologically, you should watch the 2017 film first, and then the 2014 film, because the 14 one actually happens in the story's time a couple of months after the second film finishes. These two films, although they belong to the same sort of universe, when they first made the first film, they only had intention of making the second one. They didn't know if it's gonna happen. So you get this feeling that they want this to be one story, but they want to have freedom in each movie too. Because if you decided you're gonna have a very strict sort of serialized story that's actually fitting into each other perfectly, then you have a very big limit on the characters and on how things progress, and it's just not as freeing. So what they did was, between these two films, although they should be still of the same person and same kind of universe and stories, there are discrepancies between details. And it's done intentionally to kind of give you this sense of it is the same story, same people, but then different, and it's like a parallel universe. I want to recommend these two films to you if you are interested in Chinese period stuff on screen, and including a lot of fighting. So I would categorize this as thriller, kind of like a mystery, because they go and solve cases, but then very quickly it becomes more like character focused of the lead characters, and then action. It includes a lot of fights, a lot of fights. So if you love to see people fight in Chinese costumes, these two films are pretty nicely done for that purpose. Especially the second one, 2017 one, actually improved greatly, I would say, upon the first one in terms of the fight scenes, qualities, how they filmed it, the different setups, how many fights there are. Like there's literally just fight after fight after fight in the second movie, but they're all done in pretty nicely designed ways, so it would be very entertaining for you to watch it on screen. Oh, and I forgot to mention what the title means, 绣春刀. So the English title, Brotherhood of Blades, is not bad, but the actual title, 绣春刀, refers to the particular type of weapon that these people would use. Our lead character, played by Zhang Zhen, his character in the film is named Shen Lian, and he is a Jingyi Wei of the late Ming Dynasty. Jingyi Wei is a particular type of secret police that's created by the founder of the dynasty, and it's kind of really bad, like the worst kind of people that you don't want to mess up at that time. And because they dress up in this very elaborate, very flamboyant uniform, therefore they're called Jingyi. So Jingyi means embroidered uniform, Wei, guard. So Jingyi Wei would be translated as embroidered uniform guard, or very nasty. If you live in Ming Dynasty, you really don't want to mess up with any of these people. In the first film, you're introduced to the brothers, the not blood related, but very close sort of comrades within Jingyi Wei, led by Zhang Zhen as the main lead, and then you have his older brother, played by Wang Qianyuan, his younger brother, played by Li Dongxue. Interestingly enough, both of them also show up in Love and Destiny as love enemies. But in this film, they're good brothers. They're very, very close and tight. Spoiler territory if you don't want to listen to too much spoilers. But in the first film, basically, they get dealt with a very difficult task to do. And supposedly, once they finish it, life will be rosy for them. They're gonna get promotion and blah, blah, blah. But then, obviously, things would not go that smoothly and kind of shit happens. And then they have to deal with the aftermath and these sort of continuous life-threatening situations they get into because of that task. And that is tied into the late Ming Dynasty's politics about this one famous eunuch, Wei Zhongxian, who at a time had so much power. He had such power over every other political subjects, like high-ranking officials over the emperor, blah, blah, blah. But then he had an epic fall as well. So their fate is tied into the fate of this very famous, infamous, notorious historical figure. In this film, you still get a sort of main couple, which is between lead character Shen Lian, played by Zhang Zhen, and the other lead, female lead, the only female lead, really, Zhou Miaotong, played by Liu Shishi. But both films, I would still say, are male-oriented much more. So although there's a female lead in each movie, and they have like important relationship with the lead character, but in terms of screen time and just the focus of the storytelling, really they are not. Like I said, the second movie actually happened chronologically before the first movie. So if you go to watch the second movie, you will be introduced to still this main character, but different people around him. So at that time, there's the big brother and the younger brother do not exist in this storytelling. Instead, he has a different kind of big brother who also had a really tight relationship with him. He also gets himself into a kind of trouble, and then a lot of people try to kill him, and he tried to run away, and blah, 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 lots of fight, and then it involves another girl who is actually, by the director of this film's explanation, is secretly, actually, they want to design her as a sister of the first film's female lead, so played by Yang Mi. So Yang Mi and Liu Shishi in film 2 and film 1 are actually sisters, but neither of them know each other's existence. And the tiny clues were dropped there if you actually pay attention. And if when you watch the second movie, which came out like 3 years later, you still remember what happened in the first one, you might just pick up the clues. So in the second movie, Shen Lian also has a, I wouldn't say romantic relationship, it's more like getting to that point, but then didn't happen, and you kind of wonder what would happen afterwards, but it never says. Sort of a relationship with Yang Mi's character, who actually goes by a sort of pen name as a painter called Bei Zhai. So there's this romantic relationship between the female and the male lead, but then the guys around them are different. The other thing that I really would recommend you to check out is because the cast is just so good in the both movies, apart from one little thing. But let's first talk about the actors, the male ensemble in both films that are like just fantastic. In the first film, you have our lead actor, obviously Zhang Zhen, great actor, one of my favorites ever. And then his older brother is played by Wang Qianyuan, who also had numerous awards, very well respected in China. I think he played one character in Tribes and Empires, if you've watched. Younger brother Li Dongxue, Guo Junwang from Empress in Palace and also in Love and Destiny. The eunuch is played by none other than very, very revered actor Jin Shijie. You also have Nie Yuan in that. Nie Yuan from Yanxi Gongyue. Like there's just like so many good actors in the first one. And in the second one, they kind of top that. They have Zhang Yi, who is probably a lot of people don't know. If you're watching my channel, you probably don't know about him, but he is also like similar to Wang Qianyuan, an actor who is so well respected and has so many awards under his belt. Then you have Lei Jiaying, another brilliant actor from Chang'an, the lead of Chang'an 12时辰, Longest Stay in Chang'an. One of those actors who can do anything. He can do action movies. He can do just like contemporary, like businessman kind of roles. Fine. He can do absolute hilarious comedy. He can do anything, and he's so good at everything he plays. And he's very prominent in the second film. Again, you still have Jin Shijie as the eunuch, and then you also have Xin Zhilei, who at that time, 2017, she was just starting to become really famous. Now she's much better known. You also come across two very peripheral roles, but who both show up in Chang'an 12时辰. So I think the team of making the film and the team of Chang'an 12时辰 have some overlap because there are people that are just very familiar. So watch those two films for that. It's very entertaining too. Apart from, I would say, in my opinion, both films have really weak female lead characters as well as actresses. I think they have to include this sort of romantic relationship. Otherwise, it just loses the possibility of attracting potential audiences who would go into cinema to watch these two actresses because they have a lot of fans. That's true. And they casted the people who are really, really, really popular at the time. Think about 2014. Back then, Liu Shishi was very, very big. She's like, after her marriage, she becomes like less, like she's not really doing that much stuff these days. Yang Mi, 2017, that was the year of 10 Miles of Peach Blossom. She was like, like huge at the time. From a business standpoint, there's like no problem. I think they did the right choice. But in terms of the acting, for the quality of the production, neither of those actresses are like on par with their partner. Because Zhang Zhen is very good at acting, as we all know, and also just the ensemble. Everybody is so good in these two films. They just appear to be so much less. Granted, those two roles are written as very, I wouldn't say filler roles, but they don't have anything that shines and make you realize they are very three-dimensional or well-written characters. Neither of those two female characters are actually very well-written. So I don't know, if you give it to a more capable actress, how much better it would become. They both use their real voice. Because in films, right, if you want to submit for any awards, you need the actress or actor's actual voice. You can't dub them. Both films have featured all the actors with their real voice. For the actresses, I would really say, because neither of them have the strongest line delivery ability in Chinese Mandarin. I mean, Yang Mi was trained in Film Academy, but Film Academy is actually notorious about this thing. I whisper something so dangerous. I'm not looking for trouble, but there are a couple of schools in China, of acting schools, that has a certain fame of being able to do something better than others. Yeah, that's just, fact. In the first film, if you listen to Liu Shishi's, because that's her natural voice, you can say it's very emotional or very sort of real voice, but it also lacks the discipline. Especially for period works, you kind of need to speak in a way that's lesser daily as how contemporary people would say things. There's this level of acting that's expected, and if you don't do it, it would actually pull people out of the story. She has a very weak, not very sustained, it's like her vocal cord is not like, like tight enough or close enough, like her hair's escaping her mouth, so like she can't talk. Yeah, she talks like that, so it really is distracting for me. And in the second movie, Yang Mi's line delivery is just Yang Mi's line delivery. It's her voice. It really is her voice. And it's not bad. It just, I wished actually, in this case, it's a dubbed voice, because her character is a very strong woman and who is very free-spirited and very brave. a woman who paint things that would actually get her into trouble under those crazy political climate. So there's this level of expectancy of this character to kind of feel or sound like a particular type of person, and her natural voice really doesn't fit into that character. So when she speaks, it just I'm like, it doesn't feel like the kind of character she needs to portray. These little things probably bothers me, probably doesn't bother other people, but I feel it's a pity that for those two films I really like, neither of them has a great lead female role. And if they ever do a third movie, I hope they can improve on that. They can really make, if they want to have a central romantic BG relationship between the lead character Shen Lian and somebody else, get a really strong female character and a good actress. At the end of this, highly recommend you check out and find these two films. One of them is on China's, I think, like the second one. You can find them on a lot of streaming sites with English subtitles in China. You just need to know how to full the IP. I think it's not difficult. Get Chrome browser and download Unblock Youku on it, and it's done. And just Zhang Zhen is so good looking. His character Shen Lian, in a way, I think it's like even more suitable for him than say his character in Love and Destiny, because in these two films there are really just a lot of visceral fighting. That's not people flying in the air like 10 meters and not falling down. It's more a realistic, choreographed, but very visceral way of fighting with Chinese sort of kung fu element in it. And he fights so much in these two films. He feels more like a god of war in those two films than say in the drama. And also just the design of his costumes, and it just looks really good on camera. Fangirl here, just fangirling for a bit. There are other people who are very good looking on screen fighting too. If you've watched 长安十二时辰, you probably already know how good, like, you know, Lei Jiaying is at fighting on screen. Also, Zhou Yiwei looks really good fighting on screen. Li Dongxue, surprisingly good, because he played very sort of, you know, Guo Junwang previously, Empress Palace, the most famous one, who is basically not fighting at all. But in this film, he fights a lot and very good too. Even Xin Zhilei's character, like, everybody fights really well. I'm just saying, they all look very good on camera fighting. So if you love that, these two films definitely worth checking out. I really want them to make a third one. I really can't wait to see a third one. I don't know when that one is coming. It's just one of my wishes. Probably in the coming year or two, give us the third one and give us a better written female role. I would go into the theater and watch it multiple times to support the box office. Before I go though, quickly, I have a new Facebook page. I forgot to mention. Yeah, I finally opened a Facebook page. I really don't like Facebook as a platform in terms of its looks. It's the designer thing that in me, I just doesn't like how it looks on phone and on desktop. I just hate how it looks. But I understand it has its purpose, and I know a couple of people have already mentioned they really want to find me on Facebook, so it's there. I've also have a couple of new things up on my shop. If you want to check them out, welcome to visit my website and my shop. I will be shouting out about everything and anything that's going on with my shop, with my other stuff. If you're interested, just follow whatever social media that you use. I have pretty much everything. But sorry if you're a big Twitter fan, because I don't really use Twitter. I have a Twitter account. I hardly ever go there to check out. I also am quite active on Weibo in China, and Weibo is like Chinese Twitter, so I can't deal with two platforms at once. My brain is gonna explode. So if you have Weibo, you can follow me there, although I only speak Chinese over there. So yeah, so much stuff going on in my life right now. Thank you for sticking through this video that kind of meanders and into weird territories. Finally, again, thank you for watching Everything X. I'll see you in my next video. Meanwhile, live long and happy drama/film watching.